Thank you so much for having me today. It's truly an honor to be reading with all these great poets today. My name is Joaquin Zihuatanejo from Dallas, Texas. This is a poem called Beauty is a Crooked Smile. It was inspired by sixth graders, so sixth graders can hear it, I guess. When she told me she used Talib Kweli, Blackalicious, and Jurassic 5 lyrics to teach the concept of poetry to inner city street kids, I embraced this 63-year-old middle school teacher longer than I should have, and whispered seductively in her ear, "Take me, Mrs. Evers, I'm yours." So when she asked me to teach a week-long writing workshop to her sixth grade English class, that culminated in a poetry slam right there in her classroom on the fifth day, how could I say no? And most of the poems performed that day were short, odd, and funny as heck, not unlike the students who read them. Like Marco, who spoke more Spanglish than English in his poem, "Get your filthy hands off my tamale ese!" My favorite line in his poem was, "If you've never been in a room with 20 hungry Mexicans and only 10 tamales, then you've never felt the utter and total fear of impending doom." Marco's poem gave way to an epiphany. If Malcolm X were reincarnated today as a 5'1", 96-pound white kid with a mop of dirty blonde hair, his name would be Mickey, who was the only student to recite his entire poem while standing on Mrs. Eva's desktop. I have it on good authority, people, that Mr. Henderson, our school's principal, is the man, and his plan to change pizza and tater tot plate lunch Friday to soy burger and garden salad plate lunch Friday is not only un-American, but it reeks of communism. And to be perfectly honest with you here, I don't know exactly what communism is per se, but every time an adult says that word, they cringe a little, like they do when they say the word cancer or Republican. So when he accosted me in the hallways and said, "Mickey, what do you think about soy burgers?" I replied, "I'm only 12. I don't know what soy is, but I know the one place it should not be is on my burger." They were instructed to read for no longer than 4 minutes. Mickey went on for 12 minutes and 43 seconds, including a 1-minute concluding call of response of, "When I say tater, you say tot. When I say soy, you say not." And despite the fact that he received a perfect 10 from all 5 judges, he was the only poet to receive a negative score due to a time penalty. And then that brings me to Emma, who never raised her voice above a whisper when she read her poem, Beauty is a Crooked Smile. Bell's palsy crept into my life last year and took my mother's smile from me. This Rubenesque woman, who's all that I know of my family tree, so now her face is 1/2 red oak, 1/2 weeping willow. But I will gladly stand beside her, because it has taken me this long to see that under her shade is the safest place for me to be. And everything that I know about poetry, I learned from my mother, like love is hands held between hospital bed rails. Beauty is a crooked smile. Faith is a late mortgage payment. Grace balances itself between my father's absence and my mother's struggles. And like all poets, if I wanted to, I could use words to disguise lies. But I know better than to lie to you. You can see right through me when I do. And the truth of the matter is, I love you. Not despite your crooked smile, but because of it. And in the end, when it was said and done, it didn't matter who lost or won, because this was about choice. This was about silence or voice. And all those who spoke or didn't speak that day in Mrs. Eva's class learned something. And what I learned is this: I have grown weary of poets standing on something as sacred as this stage and performing poems based entirely on lies. Apocryphal shams. I like to call them deaf poetry scams. And it took a classroom full of inner city youth to teach me that it doesn't matter if it's pretty or ugly. All of it's beautiful as long as it's based on truth. Thank you so much. I guess three very beautiful things come to us from Puerto Rico. My wife, Aida. Rum, thank you very much. And the poetry of Victor Hernandez Cruz. So this is a poem by Victor Hernandez Cruz. I use this poem to teach voice to my 9th grade students. I've been a high school teacher for 8 years in Dallas. And my 9th graders love this poem because it's got so much voice in it. This is called Problems with Hurricanes. A campesino looked at the air and told me, with hurricanes, it's not the wind or the water. I'll tell you, he said, it's the mangoes, avocados, green plantains, and bananas flying into town like projectiles. How would your family feel if they had to tell the generations that you got killed by a flying banana? Death by drowning has honor. If the wind picked you up and slammed you against a mountain boulder, this would not carry shame. But to suffer a mango smashing your skull or a plantain hitting your temple at 70 miles per hour is the ultimate disgrace. The campesino took off his hat as a sign of respect towards the fury of the wind and says, don't worry about the noise. Don't worry about the water. Don't worry about the wind. If you are going out, beware of mangoes and all such beautiful, sweet things. Thank you guys very much.